Hello everybody, I'm Yessenia Rosales.
I'm Esteban.
I'm Melinda Tripp.
I'm Houle.
Okay, so our goal for you today is to inform you of negative impacts of using too much social media and cell phone use. Hopefully by the end of this, we'll be able to inform you of positive ways to actually use social media and limit your time on your cell phone and social media. So what is social media? It's basically the use of Facebook, any blogs, Twitter, that enable you to communicate any instant information without looking for any response from any specific individual. What's good about social media is that you're communicating to every part of the world, to everybody in the world. But who are you really speaking to? Social media is actually increasing a lot every day, and the cell phone use as well. Actually, 40% of social media is actually used on the cell phone. So with this graph, it shows you different age groups today that are actually using social media and how it's growing. As you can see, the ages between 18 and 29 are the most growing and the ones that use social media.
So social media is most commonly accessed through a cell phone. The other common cell phone usage is through calling, texting, or emailing. It can be known as the greatest barrier to face-to-face communication because we're so involved in who we're texting, who we're about to call, who's liking our social media posts that we're not focusing on who we are at the present moment. It's been proven that the presence of cell phones does lower the quality of conversation. So a study by USA Today said that 46.3% of partners felt that they were dissatisfied with their relationship due to cell phone use because they feel like they're second to the cell phones, which shouldn't be what's happening. So it shows that we do know that we're dissatisfied and that it's a problem, but we don't really know how to fix it because we're so dependent upon cell phones.
So I'm about to talk to you about the history of cell phones. Here we have a timeline of the 1982 Rosales Senator. It was his first car cell phone. The second one was in 1984 Corolla. It was first commercial cell phone. And then we have the touchscreen cell phone, first touchscreen, 1993 Bell South. And then in 2007 we have the Apple iPhone, which people like to buy.
So that definitely increased our dependence on cell phones as more technology grew.
Okay, so now we're going to get into why this is actually a problem. For one thing, there are psychological impacts that have been directly correlated to the use of various social media formats. For one thing, this can be a result in different types of stress, forms of depression, as a matter of fact. You can even feel different forms of envy and even jealousy, as a matter of fact, based upon your own interaction with the other people that you have, people that are responsive to you, and how pretty much everyone is able to interact with each other.
So along with mental health effects, there's also physical health effects, mostly negative. So the more time that we spend on our cell phones or on social media, the less physical activity that we're getting, which can lead to obesity because we're just sitting around, we're not actually going out and getting active. Carpal tunnel syndrome is also another negative physical health effect because it can be caused from the constant typing or texting. And there's also eye strain from constantly looking at the small screen on our cell phones. A study for young children showed that rapid flashing images can cause epileptic seizures. So this is showing that young children are even using cell phones now, which is increasing the negative physical health effects that are brought upon us. Traffic hazards are another obvious physical health effect. A study by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention found that 31% of 18 to 64-year-olds admitted to texting and emailing while driving, and out of those people, 69% also admitted to talking on their cell phone while driving. So this has become kind of like a norm for our generation that we're texting and calling while driving, and we're not realizing the effects that it can have until it's too late. So this can cause accidents, which can lead to injury and even death for the pedestrians and the drivers. So as business students, we really have to rely on face-to-face communication, and that was part of the reason we chose this topic. Our textbook defines face-to-face communication as being used when we want to come to a consensus or when we want to communicate an explanation as well as an emotion. So this has to do with the nonverbal cues we learned about, like facial expressions and hand gestures. And so when we have a problem in the workplace, we're not going to want to send a quick email or a text message. We're going to want to face-to-face communicate. So right now, only 29% of college students feel comfortable with this method, while 8 out of 10 executives prefer face-to-face meetings over technology-based ones. So this shows that successful executives can do it, so we should be becoming more comfortable with face-to-face communication. And it's also quoted as the most humanizing thing we do, but sadly, cell phone use and social media is now being seen as humanizing more than face-to-face communication and talking to someone in the present.
Our solution as group, we have limiting the use on social media. By limiting our social media, we're able to communicate with others more frequently, having more face-to-face time. Also, by limiting people, just like our family, friends, are we able to talk to our family and friends more?
Limiting our friends to close family and friends is what you're trying to say.
Alright, now we're going to bring things a bit back and closer to what we ourselves have experienced, starting with myself. Personally, I'm not exactly a big social media user, and it doesn't really cause me too much hassle to be on it or not to, frankly. Right now, I go on about monthly just to get updates from the family, and on that note, I do actually just have the family itself. That way I'm only dealing with people who are really important to me, those who pretty much, if something happens to them, I really do need to find out about it. Whereas I'm not that interested in just one of my friends just going off to the beach and whatnot. This way, I'm still able to use it for any kind of information planning, different kind of information transfer. That way we can all get the information that we need.
So my personal experience mainly relates to cell phone use while out to eat or at the dinner table. When I used to go out to dinner with my family or friends, I noticed that everyone, including myself, was on their cell phone. And after a while, I noticed that even my parents were doing it. So what I decided to do was eliminate my cell phone use out to dinner completely. So I would put it in my bag and I wouldn't take it out until the end of the meal. And I noticed that it really increased the quality of the conversation with the people I was actually with, and it was overall a much more enjoyable situation. So that's just something small that I try to do to limit my cell phone use.
My experience with cell phone use, I try to use it less when I'm around other people. So, for instance, if I'm in a party or I'm in a club, I would usually use the cell phone only for pictures, not really socializing for the respect of the other people.
So let's think again what would happen to us if we didn't limit the use. Who here checks their phone before they go to bed? Actually, because you do that, a lot of it can cause different types of disorders and anxiety, such as social anxiety disorder, OCD, general anxiety disorder, and one of the most popular ones within our age group is actually FOMO, which is the fear of missing out, which explains why most of us right now would check our phones before going to bed. You always want to be in touch with the world, what's going on, and that just makes us always anxious, and it's good to limit that. We also lose sleep. Like I said, FOMO. You're always constantly thinking of what's going on in the world. You're not really thinking about yourself and your health and letting your brain just kind of shut down when you need to sleep. And we lose face-to-face communication. Also, there's been a study that 23% of teens this year have no knowledge of how to actually properly use their privacy settings on their social media. So that allows more people to cause harm to themselves by allowing other people to know more information about them. It can cause bullying, stalking, and other issues like that. So while this presentation was actually going on, we have a site that was running showing a tally of different social medias that grow every single second this presentation was going on, and we can show you that now.
Alright, so while we have said all this, that doesn't mean that you have to cut it out completely. Social media can be best used if you use it in conjunction with face-to-face. As long as you're willing in order to put your actual self forward, then you're able to allow your electronic self as well to flourish as well. Frankly, one of the main things is you need to actually live your life. Don't just do it in types of Instagram pictures or any kind of Twitter follows. Pretty much you want to just be there yourself. Because frankly, a lot of it is not even going to be showing up in a week or so, or a year or so. Right now, it's just now and what you're dealing with. Frankly, you should definitely not use it when you're in a private conversation. So try to make sure that you're actually involved with all the other people around you and actually experience what's going on around you.
So what can you do? Well, you have a better face-to-face conversation. Like if you're going to do a face-to-face conversation with a person who could have an employer, you must know how to be able to speak with them, not use your cell phones when they're there. There's also, you could do outdoor activities like sports, hockey, basketball. You can hang out with your friends. And any questions?